of the insects really distracting Chamberlain and the rest of the Yankee infield. You see Derek Jeter waving that cap around.
Joe Torre won 4 World Series and over 2,000 games throughout his Hall of Fame managerial career, but this video is about his biggest regret, which is bug spray. ...2007 ALDS, Game 2 in Cleveland. The Yankees lead 1-0 and are trying to tie up the series at 1 apiece rather than go down 0-2. There are 2 outs in the top of the 8th, and both the hitter, Doug Minkiewicz, and the pitcher, Fausto Carmona, who was really named Roberto Hernandez, are suddenly swarmed by bugs. Minkiewicz grounds out to end the inning, and in the bottom of the 8th, the Yankees turn to their star rookie, Joba Chamberlain. Chamberlain, a first-round draft pick out of Nebraska the previous year, has rocketed through the minors to become the most hyped pitching prospect in the game. With a crucial 1-run playoff lead entrusted to him, he's serving as the Sandman's setup man, though long-term the Yankees believe he'll soon be the starting rotation's ace. As Joba reaches the mound, he too is covered by tiny bugs called midges. The Midges descend upon the Jake and the Joba. Before Chamberlain throws a pitch, longtime Yankees team trainer Gene Monahan is out there dousing him with bug repellent. Home plate umpire Laz Diaz lathers up as well. That bottle of off is getting some serious mileage. Man, I miss him. Miss him, too. Post-spray down, there are visibly more midges on Chamberlain than there are around Grady Sizemore in the batter's box, and from Joba's perspective, he performs about as well as you would if you had to do your job covered in bugs. Ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4. Cleveland's star center fielder takes first base. Why are they here? The weather that evening was unusually warm for October in Cleveland. 84 degrees Fahrenheit at first pitch, 16 degrees hotter than the average historical high. This heated up nearby Lake Erie, yes I can use Google Earth too, prompting adult midges to emerge from its waters, beginning the final stage of their 4-act life cycle. Swarms of Lake Erie midges are common in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. They're a food source for local fish and birds, and they're ultimately harmless to humans. They aren't carriers of disease, they don't eat, they don't even have mouths, but they are a temporary nuisance. These non-biting midges are called chironomids, these types more specifically in the Latin, Chironomus plumosus, but they also go by a few nicknames that sound like slurs. Sandflies, muffleheads, Canadian soldiers, wait, no, cut that. Whatever you call them, Joe Torre looks on as they coat the next big thing in Yankees baseball. Joba Chamberlain only just turned 22 a few weeks prior. Hopefully he's unfazed by the distraction in a big moment. Following the walk to Sizemore, the Yankees take another bug spray timeout. They aren't realizing it, but the so-called repellent is only exacerbating the problem. These midges don't have mouths and thus don't eat, but they may drink water or nectar. These little fellers, much smaller than a flyer mosquito, have just emerged from the unseasonably warm waters of Lake Erie. It's a humid night, they found a sweaty pitcher under the lights, and the Yankees are only adding more moisture to the equation. The trainer, Monahan, is focused on Chamberlain's hat and neck area, but as soon as he leaves, that's exactly where the midges are gravitating. With regards to the bug spray, Torre would later say, "Little did I know at the time, it was like filet mignon to those bugs, because they didn't leave." Derek Shelton, now the manager of the Pirates, then Cleveland's hitting coach, saw the Yankees' bug spray error as a form of home field advantage. Our trainers knew it. They understood. I don't think you saw a lot of our people putting it on. You have people from Northeast Ohio around, you understand it a little bit. Of course, that didn't make them immune, as Dribble Cabrera has to deal with his own bug swarm, no doubt aided by Laz Diaz's application of spray, but Joba Chamberlain visibly has more around him. It's too much to bear, and inevitably leads to a wild pitch that advances the tying run to second, followed by a bunt to advance Sizemore to third. Cabrera would later win the World Series with a team called the Nats. The infield and dugouts are most affected by the onset swarm. They're in Cleveland's dugout, they're on Travis Hafner, but they're most concentrated on Joba's neck. After Hafner hits a hot shot to Minkiewicz at first, there's a light at the end of the bug-filled tunnel. 2 outs, 1 to go. But the lineup doesn't get any easier. Up next, Victor Martinez. The Midges rage on, and while Joba Chamberlain is trying to hold a late-game lead and tie the division series 1-1, the Midges too are in a pressure-filled situation. In this final adult stage, they have approximately 3 days to live, and in those 3 days they must fulfill their, biological imperative, reproduction. They aren't swarming for fun, they're mating. Seriously, right in front of my setup man. The good folks watching on TBS are seeing a gathering of mostly males looking for available females. Let's hope it's a better ratio than my audience. While the Midges attempt to be fruitful and multiply, the tension in the air is too much for Joba, and it costs the Yankees their lead.
What a pitch! Here comes Sizemore! Not in time!
Thanks in large part to irritating insects, Cleveland manufactures the tying run with a 4-pitch walk, wild pitch, sacrifice bunt, and second wild pitch that, to add insult to injury, takes Chamberlain out on the slide. It's a crucial, and up to that point, rare run allowed by the rookie sensation. Although the Yankees planned to use him as a starter long-term, Joba dominated out of the pen in the regular season, allowing just 1 run and posting the lowest FIP among pitchers with at least 20 innings. And he did so while touching 100 miles per hour on his fastball. Even with a dangerous part of the lineup coming up, the odds weren't in Cleveland's favor with Chamberlain in the 8th and Rivera in the 9th, but the miraculous Midge mating mania was enough to make a run out of nothing. The understandable lack of control continues. Chamberlain plunks Victor Martinez. They're in his eyes, his ears, his mouth, and nose. He had 1 hit by pitch and 1 wild pitch in the regular season. He has 1 hit by pitch and 2 wild pitches this inning. After Chamberlain nearly hits Ryan Garco as well, Joe Torre walks out to the mound. Typically, the pitching coach comes out to advise while the manager executes pitching changes, but Torre has something to say.
Try not being covered in bugs. But I am covered in bugs. That's just your mindset.
Whatever he says, it works. Chamberlain strikes out Johnny Peralta with a perfect slider. His inning is done, but the game is far from over. That leads us to Joe Torre's lament, not pulling his players off the field when such a crucial moment in the season was affected by unprecedented conditions. Pausing proceedings would have been left to crew chief Bruce Frumming's discretion, a delightfully shaped umpire in his 37th and final year in MLB, but he's positioned down the right field line, away from most of the bug action, so no stoppage is considered. Roger Clemens, who made his big league debut before his teammate Chamberlain was even born, later commented that it should have been treated like a rain delay. A spot-on soundbite because Lake Erie midge swarms are so dense that they can show up on weather radars as false rain clouds. In contrast to Joba Chamberlain's justifiable jitters, the pitcher formerly known as Fausto Carmona locks in as the Midges go to town on him too. He completes his 9th inning with an epic at-bat against Alex Rodriguez that ends with a strikeout. Regardless of his true identity, it's a nearly flawless postseason debut, with the Yankees only scoring 1 run off him via a Melky Cabrera solo shot. Mariano Rivera returns the favor as expected in typical playoff Mariano Rivera fashion. Like Roberto Hernandez before him, he's unfazed. How much of their unflappability was actual focus versus facade? That's tough to say. But current Cleveland Pobo Chris Antonetti was shocked by his pitcher's composure versus Chamberlain's. As the game enters extras, Cleveland finally dip into their bullpen with Rafael Perez, who makes no attempt to project machismo. The bugs are on him, and he does not like the bugs. He twitches, he swats, he shadowboxes, and in between all this, he's effective, pitching a 1-2-3 inning. Presentation isn't everything, people. Rivera does the same in the bottom of the 10th, albeit with more decorum. By the 11th, the Midge count is tapering off, though some still hang on to the bitter end. Perez pitches another perfect frame, and in the bottom of the inning, Travis Hafner steps into the batter's box with 2 outs against New York's Luis Vizcaíno with a chance to walk things off. The count runs full. Cleveland take a commanding 2-0 series lead and eventually win Game 4 in the Bronx, eliminating the Yankees. And to think, what could have been if not for the swarm in the 8th inning? We'll never truly know. It's the butterfly effect, or maybe Midge effect. The life of the Lake Erie Midge is cyclical. They showed up during games again in 2009, then again in 2013. The Royals learned from the Yankees' bug spray error as their trainer merely wiped starting pitcher Irvin Santana down, removing moisture from the equation rather than adding it. Here they are making babies on Trevor May's face a year later in 2014. When I asked Trevor about the Midges, he left them a 1-star review. And most recently in 2022, they swarmed the Browns pre-game, though were wise enough to not stick around for their loss to the Chargers. In the years since, the Midge meltdown has been blamed for altering the trajectory of Joba Chamberlain's career. His superstar prospect status came with special care, including the Joba rules with regard to his bullpen usage, which were really the Joe Torre rules so as not to repeat past reliever overuse. Just a year earlier, Scott Proctor of all people had pitched a 100-inning relief season that hasn't been surpassed since. The 2007 ALDS turned out to be Torre's last season as Yankees manager, as he turned down the Steinbrenner family's 1-year contract offer to stay. ESPN the magazine famously declared Chamberlain next that offseason, an honor previously bestowed to up-and-coming talents like LeBron James, Adrian Peterson, and Kaz Matsui. At the time, he was one of the rare starters capable of triple-digit heat, but Chamberlain only made 43 career starts and instead was mostly a serviceable reliever across his 10-year big league career, including coming out of the pen during a successful Yankees playoff run in 2009. Appropriately, the last team he pitched for was Cleveland in 2016, the same year as the last notable apparition of Midges at Progressive Field. Chamberlain, to his credit, has been nothing but affable when it comes to the subject. Critters on a baseball field are hardly unique, but they usually create funny pauses rather than season-altering implications. The Yankees were in perfect position to hand off their 1-run lead from Chamberlain to Rivera in Game 2, but in a rare reversal of fortunes, the Midges, who at best had 72 hours left to live, guided Cleveland to a win. Talk about sacrifice flies! Thank you to my newest patrons. To see your name here, head on over to patreon.com/foolishbaseball. Also, thank you to Maxo for providing the music.